Welcome to your practice. Take a couple moments to situate yourself and to allow yourself to kind of pull away from the outer world for a moment. Any distractions, to-do lists, responsibilities, you get to give yourself some me time. So take a moment to really just kind of like sever connections in a sense so that you can be fully present with you. So take a couple of deep breaths, maybe letting go of emails or work stuff, or maybe dinner that isn't prepped, or things that follow. Just kind of exhale them out. We're going to do some alternate nostril breathing, which is going to help with lunar and solar energy. So that solar energy is that sun energy that we have right now, which is invigorating. It's where we want to get out and do fun things, and we want to do creative expression, and we're go, go, go. Then that lunar phase is all about how we take in and we rest and we meditate, we breathe, and we relax, right? It's very opposite. And so sometimes when we have all these energies that are so amped, right, we can kind of feel a little depleted at times, but yet our energy just wants to keep going. So it's just a good way just to balance. So we'll do alternate nostril breathing to breathe through both hemispheres of the brain. So pick whatever hand you want to work with today, it doesn't matter. And then we're going to fold back so that we have the thumb, and then the ring and the pinky finger is what we're going to be using. So you'll use your thumb and then the other fingers to plug and unplug. So if you have any type of like anything going on with your sinuses in which like plugging and unplugging your nostrils is not possible, just do this with your intention with your hands down. Okay? Take a deep breath in. Exhale it all the way. Plug your right, breathe in through your left. Plug your left, breathe out through your right. Breathe in through your right. Plug right, out left. In left. Out right. In right. Out left. In left. Out right. Keep going, and I want you to see if you can smooth your breath. So maybe you're counting to 3 or 4. So if you forget, we're breathing in and we're breathing out, and then we're plugging. So once you breathe in, you switch sides. You breathe out, then you breathe in. And you switch sides. So try to lengthen out the breath for the last few rounds. Finish one more cycle. And then just let your hands rest and tune in, feel into yourself. Just kind of noticing if you feel more energy on the right side of your body or the left. Maybe noticing if you feel more of those solar qualities like outward energy, yang energy, wanting to do, create, or more of the lunar energy, wanting to take in, rest, replenish. Just kind of noticing where you fall today. Bring your hands up to your heart, and allow yourself to form an intention for your practice today, whether it's just for your health and well-being or for balance. The moon's in Gemini, so I want us to work with the power of our thought and our intention. I feel like right now our intentions are very, very powerful in how things are coming to us, right? How we're perceiving the world, how we're putting out there what it is that we need and we want to create, right? It's so important that we're in touch with the power of our thoughts, the power of our intention. So touch into the power of your intention for what you want to create in our practice. And then take your aromatherapy of choice, whether you're using Soul Shine for this one, give yourself a spritz, and that's how you'll seal your intention. So let that smell be a way of resetting that intention to soulfully show up for whatever it is that you want. And then I'm going to come off of the block, and I'm going to allow myself to sit up. I'm going to face you guys with my hands facing forward or out to the side, chest proud. And then let your legs windshield wiper, keeping your spine somewhat stable. So it's the legs moving in the socket of the hips. So long spine, almost like you're in plank core. And then let the legs fall all the way over to the right. And then go ahead and come all the way up and onto your right forearm. And then reach back with your left hand to grab your left foot and kick into that hand to give a little thigh stretch, a little front of the hip stretch. So you're strong in your right shoulder, lift your chest. Nice deep breath in, nice deep breath out. And then when you're ready, come all the way back down and up, turn towards your right leg and come onto your forearms for a twist. So I turn towards my right leg and I'm twisting to the right. Feel free to stretch out through your left arm if you want a little bit of depth here. Turn from your belly so that your left side of your chest can face down or somewhat down. And then slowly coming up, grab onto your left ankle and do a little side stretch. So the left ear comes towards the left shoulder. And then slowly come up. Let both of your feet come forward. And just for a moment, we're going to do a little bit of core work. So we'll press into the heels, lift the hips so that I have a tabletop position. And then I'll drop to the hips, come into boat pose. Press the feet out, toes and eyes level, round to the upper back. And then come back down to your starting position. Press up to the hips. I'm going to give you now a side profile. Press up to the hips. Let the hips come down, float the legs. Your feet can be together or your knees, or you can separate them. Press your feet out, upper back lifts. Come back up, place the feet down. You have two more. Lift through the hips. Stretch to the chest, down with the hips, up with the legs. Press out, hold for a breath. Come back in and hands down, last set. Lift up, feel your glutes strengthen, the back chain of your body nice and strong. Come up, chest proud, press it out, and then come back up. And then we're gonna let our legs fall to the left. And then I'm gonna go all the way down to my left forearm, grabbing onto the right foot. Kick foot into hand, let that right shoulder stretch back so that you get a front shoulder stretch, hip flexor thigh. Nice deep breaths. Strong in your left shoulder so you don't slouch into that left shoulder. Keep it lifted, almost like a side plank. And then gently let the right foot come down. Turn towards your left and then place either your hands straight if this is tight, forearms down if you can get them, and right arm extends if that can happen. So as you twist and turn your belly, you'll notice that right armpit can face down a little bit. And just let your head go. A couple more breaths. And then slowly coming back up. Grab onto your right ankle, and then a left side body stretch. You can let your ear release down to your shoulder. And then release it up. Come back into your bent knee position. So if altar pose or tabletop is good with bent knees, you can keep that, or you can straighten one leg or straighten two legs. We're gonna do this 2 rounds. If you're straightening both legs, point your toes towards the floor, strengthen that back body. So this is the upper back strengthening we've been doing. Core is strong, neck is easy. Hold for 5 more breaths. And set your hips down. Okay, I'm gonna move my props out of the way. Take your arms and reach them up. You can bend the knees if you need to. Hinge forward to grab onto your feet, so it's totally fine for your feet to be bent. You can curl the toes back and round your upper back for a little stretch there. If it feels okay to straighten through your legs, if you have enough space there, come into a forward fold. I like my legs further apart in the forward fold just so that I can have a little bit more space for my pelvis. Now go ahead and bring that right foot to your left thigh, and I'm going to open the ankle up a bit. So here's where it might be nice to have like a prop for your knee if your knee is elevated over your hip point. So a block or a blanket works for that. And if you have tightness in your SI where you don't think that you can have a big angle, keep it more like tree. Okay, so we're going to turn towards the right. That's my bent leg. And then I'll either take my hand to a block. So showing you this, a block. I can come here. If I can use a strap, I'll give you all the options here to take a side stretch. So you can even grab it with your right hand and pull the right shoulder blade back. So many options for a right side body stretch. Relax that right inner thigh. That's the bent knee. Allow your right side body to draw towards the right as you let it release. Let your head go or look down. So slowly coming up, you're going to place your right palm down, lift your hips, and do a little side stretch or a back bend. So I can kind of lift my chest, put my shoulders on my back. And then come all the way down. Back into that forward fold. Actually, not yet. If you had one leg bent, then the second leg, or both, or straighten both. Incline plane, Purvottanasana. Lift your chest, engage your glutes. Feel the upper back muscles draw together and draw down towards the earth. And let your hips come down, nice. Okay, so I'm going to start with bent knees. This allows the pelvis to tip forward, so totally do that if you want. Arms reach up, let the pelvis tip forward with the strap if you want, or grabbing onto your feet, round upper back. And then if you want to, straighten through your legs. I do want your pelvis somewhat tipped forward if you can, so that you're not compromising the low back. So sometimes for some of us, bending the knees gives you way more space. Okay, come up. Pull your left thigh out. So I'm going to open up the angle. I'm going to turn so that, and this is where I have to look and notice where my left knee is in space, because if it's way high, I want something under that so I can relax, right? So block, blanket. Turn towards the left, that's towards your bent knee. So that as you side stretch, I have side body opening, not necessarily upper back. Okay, so I'm using the right thigh and the right arm, or I'm resting my head. Lots of options for arms I didn't say. You could do a half bind, neck release. We're gonna do it again so you can remember any of these. Left arm comes down, left knee down. I lift up, maybe it's another side stretch, maybe the chest lifts and the shoulders go on my back. Really press your hips forward. And then come down. So we're going to turn this into a flow in which we're just going to move through at your own pace. So we're just going to repeat the same shapes you just did. So I want you just to get the hang of it, and you can go super slow or you can go rhythmic, whatever you feel like, okay? So it's just a lift up, just for a beat or so, hips down, arms up, hinge forward. So I can do this with bent knees. Then the right leg draws back, And then I'm gonna do a side stretch or whatever I want. Right arm down, hips lift. And then I come all the way back down. I do it again, second side. So remember, I can have both knees bent too, if I want. Showing you that. And this could be what I do. And then I'm gonna take the left foot back. Open up, side body. And then left arm down, hips lift. And so we're gonna do it like a couple more times on each. Just go as slow or whatever feels good to you. There's no reason to rush. If you forget it, make up something that feels good that's along these same lines. Just want you to kind of feel some hip mobilization, some spine mobilization as we get all this in. But no reason to rush, right? Don't let it disconnect you. Strengthening upper back and core. Use your breath. So I know sometimes when I start moving rhythmically, I'll lose track of my breath. So part of this Gemini energy is getting able to move quicker with more awareness, right? So that we can still stay connected to our body and what we need, but yet we don't have to move super slow all the time because sometimes life demands that we speed up. Or things just come at us really quick. This is our last cycle through. So it's like, how can you move at a little bit quicker pace without losing connection to your breath, to what you need to do for your own body? Keep just kind of working with that as we move. What does that look like for you? And maybe that means an even slower pace, or that you don't do quite as much. So final round, left side, or if you started with your left, your right. Left side. So even just this moving around with our legs is mobilizing the hips. So even if it feels clunky or not as seamless, doesn't matter. You're still mobilizing your hips, letting them move in new directions. Awesome, guys. Nice. I love watching you guys. All right, spin your legs across when you're ready and come to downward facing dog. So just take some deep breaths and slow it down. If you want a child's pose instead, go ahead and let that be a substitution. Let the head drape. You can bend the knees to give the low back a little bit more space. And when you're ready, step your right leg forward and come to a high lunge. Take your time to come up. So get your feet situated, back heel nice and high. Bring your hands to your waist. And then shoulders onto the back. So fingers forward, thumbs back, and then elbows down. So that I want you to feel some strength there. Almost like you had rubber bands around your elbows and they're drawing together so you feel some strength in your upper back. Take some nice deep breaths. Maybe sink a little lower into that right thigh. So you already have your shoulders on your back, so you can either just have the hands straightened, or if you're able to interlace them, go ahead. Step your left foot forward and at an angle. Now bend your left knee out to the side and curl your right toes back. So my shoulders stay on my back. My right toes curl back, so I'm getting a little foot stretch here. Right hip draws back. Nice deep breath. And now I'm going to grab a block. So I'm going to stand up and then I'm going to grab a block. So it'd be great if I had this all set up, wouldn't it? And then I'm going to bring my hands to my waist. I'm going to let my left toes point towards the corner of the mat. So I'm going to come from the top down, half moon, okay? So keeping your hands at your waist so you feel your core. Start to hinge at the hips as you lift the left leg. And I'm going to have that block handy so that I can reach down for it. Otherwise, I can just kind of hinge down a little bit lower and pause somewhere. Okay, take your left arm up. Internally rotate your left arm and place it at the right hip pocket or at the small of your back. You can look down or release your head. Now from the outer hip, lift your left leg. From the inner thigh, lift your left leg. And then from your right pelvis, root to your inner right foot. So you have two anchors here. Lengthen through your spine. Take another breath in. Take another breath out. And then step it back for a warrior two, but with straight legs for right now. So it's warrior two stance, straight legs. Take your arms, stretch them out. A little bit back further so you feel that upper back work. And then again, hinge at your hips, straighten your right leg. So my toes curl back. So I'm just hinging straight. And then I'm gonna come into a warrior two. Nice. Take your arms and stretch up. Nice long spine. And then exhale into horse pose. Sink a little lower. Take some deep breaths. We're gonna find eagle arms, right arm over left. We're gonna do some big circles. So I'm gonna lean to the left, release all the way down, lean to the right, come up. We're gonna start from the right. Lean to the right, release down, let the arms be heavy. Lean to the left, and come up. Straighten your legs, parallel your toes, and step in for a little squat. Eagle pose. Right leg is your base. Left leg hooks. You choose the kind of eagle you want. You can sink back. You can hunker down a little lower for nested eagle. We did a twisted eagle the other day, so you could twist if you wanted that one again. Keep breathing. And then when you're ready, slowly release, bring that left knee out. Step it out wide again, so now you're back in that out wide position. Take your arms out to the side, 5-pointed star. Close your eyes and stretch from your core to your palms, from your core to your feet. And then bring those hands to the low back, excuse me. Big chest stretch, and then hinge at your hips, forward fold. So I'm keeping that upper back active here. Elbows down towards my low back, even though they're coming up a bit. Neck is relaxed. One more deep breath in. One more deep breath out. Release your hands down to the mat. Come towards your front leg. Bend your left knee. Place it down on the floor and come up for a little lunge. And then pull the right elbow down and get a little side stretch to the right. Bring both arms up. Pull the left arm down, a little side stretch to the left. Both arms reach up, get a little more lift out of your low back. And then both elbows pull down, chest lifts. And then both hands are placed down on the floor. Plank pose. First plank. Take a moment to let this be kind of a grounding reset shape. Then come forward. If you'd like to use your knees to come down, go ahead all the way to your belly. Untuck your toes. Get ready for cobra. So pull the hands back. Remember all the upper back work we've done. So shoulders on the back, elbows point down. Pull up, cobra. Keep your chest lifted. Lift your legs. Release your arms back. See if you can tuck your chin a bit so that the neck is long. So now locust pose. Maybe you want to bind the arms to get a little bit more upper back and chest. And then place the hands back to cobra, tuck your toes. Keep your thighs lifted or knees can come down. Upward dog. Then use your core plank to downward facing dog. 5 breaths. Find your center. Find your inner place of stillness. So that everything can be moving around and crazy, but we have that ability to come back in. Step your left leg forward for a high lunge. And so I'm going to take my time building a nice, good lunge. Fingers forward, thumbs on the low back. I'm going to let that low back lengthen as I pull up to the low belly, and the elbows point back. I want to be careful when the elbows point back, my shoulders don't lift. So I want to do my best job to keep the work and the traps there. You know, rhomboids, but elbows down, so those lower traps engage. Breathe and feel that opening on the front of the hips. Sink into that front leg. And then remember, you're gonna either bind if you can, well, you can use a strap, or you can just use your hands pulling together. Step your right leg in and at an angle. So it's like a short warrior one stride. Now allow your chest to lift, hinge forward, right knee moves towards those right toes, lift the left toes up. So I'm just hinging at the hips, keeping my spine long. Come on up. So I'm going to come to a short warrior two stride. I'm going to face the other way so I don't face away from you. So coming into half moon, so these front toes point towards the side of my mat. These right toes point at an angle. So as I keep myself lifted and strong in my core, I'll start to hinge forward. Rooting through this inner thigh line and reaching for a block or hovering. Okay, right arm comes up, gives you a little extra lift, and a rotate half bend. So as much as your right hip is lifting, lift your right inner thigh just as much. Ooh, sometimes gotta find that balance point. Anchor through your left inner thigh. Turn up through that right waist. And then come down to a straight leg warrior two. So that's that heel to arch, but straight leg. Arms reach out with a little bit of that pinky line going back a bit more. Hinge at your hips, like you're trying to touch your left toes with your left fingertips, but keep the shoulders back. So it's kind of a weird triangle shape. Nice, and then go ahead and bend the knee, and then the arms come up. We stretch our body, and then turn toes out, knees out, horse pose, go a little lower. So last time we had right arm over left, I think. So take your left arm over your right. We'll start to the right, so lean to the right, release all the way down, feel that low back stretch. Lean to the left, come all the way back up. Go to the left, lean to the left, release down, over to the right, all the way back up. Nice, straighten the legs, parallel the big toes. Step in. Little baby squat. Left leg is your base, wrap your right leg on top. This is your choice of eagle. So it can just be just as I'm showing, hip hinging, squeezing thighs, giving your upper back a stretch. You can go a little further down, a little bit of core work. You could twist. And then as you're ready, we're gonna slowly come up. Right knee lifts up. Then we just kind of step it out to the right. 5-pointed star. So we reach out, parallel big toes. Really let your chest lengthen to your palms and your outer hips lengthen to your feet. And then bring your hands to the small of your back. So thumbs back, fingers forward, shoulders on your back, just like that high lunge. Bend the knees, hinge forward. Kind of feeling and helping your pelvis tip forward here. So the elbows point slightly upward, but more than that, they point towards the back of the room, so you keep your shoulders away from your ears. Relax your head. Hands release down to the mat. Turn towards your left leg. Let your right knee come down, lift up Anjaneyasana. So I want my pelvis to open slightly to the right, just so I can feel that that's a relaxed way to let my hips shift forward. And then pull left arm down as you reach right arm. Pull right arm down, left arm reaches. Arms both reach up, get a little bit more length, and then exhale. And then both hands down, plank pose. We'll do that same vinyasa again, so find your strong plank. Let this be a way of centering. Come forward, drop your knees or keep your thighs lifted, chaturanga, strong cobra. So untucking toes, pressing tops of feet and pubic bone down, belly draws back, pull back with hands, I get long, then I lift chest. Neck is easy. Keep all that, lift your legs, release your arms, bind them if you wish, otherwise palms together, lift your wrists, lengthen, lower your feet, tuck your toes, place your hands, I keep my chest lifted, straighten your arms, so like a push-up. Yeah, that was awesome, there you go, all the way, yeah, nice, Kathleen, awesome. And then find your belly plank, downward facing dog. Here's your moment of stillness. So drop in, nice deep breaths. When you're ready, right leg is going to step forward. We're going to go a little bit faster, same flow though, so you know where you're going. So now we're practicing staying centered and grounded, even though we're not holding as long. Step your left leg in, straighten your right leg, chest opener. Move it into a half moon pose. So I'm going to step in, find the lift, maybe the hands stay at the heart this time. And maybe I'm not using a block. Step on back, straight leg, warrior two. I gotta turn the other way. Arms reach out, back body strengthens, hinge at your hips. Rebend, come into warrior two. Float your palms towards one another, get a big lift. And then come on down to horse pose. Switching up this though. So we're gonna take right arm across, hook at your elbow, and just lean to the left. We'll stay here. This will be our switch. Open up your arms. Let's go right arm hooks the left, lean to the right. Nice, and then as you're ready, we're gonna parallel those big toes. We're gonna skip eagle, arms reach out. And then either clasp the arms or place them on the small of your back, just like we did before. Lift up, maybe a look back, and a forward fold. Hands release to the floor. Move towards your right leg, left knee down. Low lunge. Then right arm, reach up with your left. Do the same on the left. Both arms reach up. Pull it back. And then hands release down to the floor. Plank pose. So kind of notice what happened as you went a little faster. Did you forget to breathe, or did you kind of lose that connection with yourself? Like all those just kind of just musings, right? Just noticing. Come forward all the way down chaturanga. Cobra pose, your best yet. Go ahead, I'm just gonna watch you guys. Yeah, neck is long, and then lift your legs. Release your arms back. Yeah, you'll drop down 100%. Tuck your chin a little bit. Most of you need to tuck your chin. Yeah, nice. That was great correction. Rachel, Kate, nice. All right, and now feet down. Tuck your toes under, hands down. Like you're doing a push-up. Lift your chest first. Lift your chest first. Yep, that was nice. And then come up. Awesome. Upward dog to downward dog. Nice. Yeah, that was awesome, Jen. Nice. Good job, you guys. So 5 breaths. Drop right in. Find your breath, release your head, let your neck get even longer. Yeah, that was nice, James, good. Soften your tongue. Yeah, good. Okay. Step your left leg forward, high lunge. And then when you're ready, hands in the small of your back. Yeah, your heart opening. Yeah. So elbows back and then also down. Yeah, you can clasp if you want. You got it. And then straighten that left leg. Step your right leg in and then hinge forward for your hamstring stretch. Curl those left toes back and I'll give you that nice little stretch to your calves as well. And then straighten it out. I take my hands to my heart. That gives me that core connection too. Step into that left leg and it's half moon. So as I'm lowering towards the floor, my right leg is vigorously lifting. Yeah, you might want to block. It's okay to lose your balance. Nice, Kathleen, yeah. Good, Jen, you can open your hip a tiny bit more if it feels like you can. Yeah, like turn it a little bit up over towards the side of the room. Yep, good. Nice, you guys, awesome. Now land in a straight leg warrior two. Find your upper back, hinge down. And then a warrior two. And then both arms come up, stretch. And then toes out, knees out, come into horse pose. Yeah. So now you choose, did you like the eagle that went in a circle? Did you like the arm hook and the lean? Pick whatever one you liked best and do that one, right? So maybe like 5 breaths, or if you're doing the circles, you'll do 1 on each side. Yeah, good. Switch if you did arms. So if you switched arms, if you were doing this, otherwise eagle, switch the arms and do it again. Yeah, good. Release your arms, 5-pointed star. So parallel your toes, arms stretch out, we get really long. We try to release from the center line of the body. And then hands to either interlace or at your small of the back, lift your chest and hinge down and fold. Hands come down to the floor, quarter turn to your left, bend your right knee, take it down to the floor and lift up. Bend left arm, let that pull the left shoulder blade back so you can stretch to the right. Switch it out. Both arms reach up, big reach, and then shoulders on your back. Hands down to the floor, plank pose. I just want to show you, so just hold your plank for a moment and then I'll let you put your knees down. I want to show you that transition from locust because I was watching. Everyone had their chest drop, so it makes it really hard. So I wanted to show you this. So make sure you can see, I'll try and do like a side profile. So when you're in locust, you're gonna drop your feet, but see my chest stays lifted, just whatever angle I can do. Hands here, I tuck my toes, I keep the lifted chest, keep my strong abs, push through my toes, and then I'm there. Okay, so a lot of you were here trying to do it, and then you have to lift your upper back, and that's just a lot on your low back. So the more your chest is already lifted with your upper back, the less your low back has to do. So try Cobra first. So try your Cobra, and that's where you get the lifted chest, and you start to strengthen your glutes, yeah? Now release your arms back, lift your legs. You're gonna drop down, that's okay. Keep the upper back what's lifting your chest, nice. Now as you lower your legs, keep your chest lifted, tuck your toes under, replant your hands, keep your chest lifted. Yes, that was it, Kathleen, nice. And then press up. Rachel, you have it, just like that. Yeah, see, then you're in, yeah, you all did it, nice. And then down, up and back, down, dog, nice. Do it again if you want, if you finally got it. You don't have to, but if you're like, oh, wow, you should have showed us that a long time ago. You can try it again. We're just kind of practicing all those back bends that we did. Awesome. Yeah, really great, you guys. Nice. Okay. 5 breaths in down dog whenever you get there. No rush. Reset. Find your breath. Okay. Go ahead and take your right knee forward for a pigeon pose. So I'm going to have my right wrist and my right knee lining up and my right heel and my left hip point. So I'm going to give you a little side profile. I like a block under my right hip. That gives me something to have my right hip touch, because my right hip's quite off the ground. Some of you will have your hips flush, and that's okay. So if you need to come down to your forearms because this is the best shape for you, or support your low back. Otherwise, if you can lift up for a moment, go ahead and lift up just for a moment, just to get that back hip opening. You have your mat, you can pull the mat edges back, or you could just have your hands back. I can sometimes lift you up. Take a few breaths and lifting to the crown of your head, feeling that extension in the spine. And then slowly take it down so that you're neutral. So I'm not folded over yet, I'm kind of in a long spine. And then kind of shift right to left a bit so you can feel where the edge is for your hip stretch, where you might get a little bit more release or opening. And then you can release all the way down, either head on your fists or on a block. So we're working with a mantra this week, Sat Nam. So every breath in, I want you to breathe in Sat. Every breath out, Nam. Now, if you'd like to add sound to this, you can breathe in Sat Nam. So I can't hear you. You can hear me. Sat Nam. The A, you drone out. Sat Nam. Try about 3 or 4 more breaths of that. You can just imagine it in your third eye. You can say it quietly, or you can chant it. So come back up to your forearms if you're not already there, and turn your left forearm so that your palm could maybe grab the front of your right knee. So some of you can just do a little mini twist here, or your right arm can come to the small of your back. Some people can grab their toes with their right hand. I can't quite do that, but maybe you can. And just twist here. You can look down, let your head go, but that's a nice neck stretch. Slowly release your arms. Then from here, tuck your back toes under, lift your right leg up. Bend your knee, float your hips just to release that right hip. You might do some hip circles or roll your ankle before taking your right leg down. So if you want to go through that vinyasa flow where we did cobra to locust to upper dog, feel free. Otherwise, take 5 deep breaths in your down dog just to re-anchor and reset. And then when you finish your vinyasa or your 5 breaths, the left knee comes forward and we set up for pigeon. Remember, we stay lifted. So first make sure you set it up. So I've got wrist, knee, ankle or heel, hip point. So if you have knee pain, I didn't tell you this in the first side, but squeezing a strap under your knee can really help. So I just squeeze it with my hamstring. So I'm just placing the strap just like that, as thick as I want. This really helps knee pain in this shape. I'm going to place the block underneath my left hip. And I'm going to sit up tall for about 5 breaths, either pressing into blocks under my hands or the mat, or I can grab mat edges. I don't have a mat edge to grab, but I could, and pull. Now remember, if this is hurting your low back, you won't be doing this, because not everyone can take this much extension in the lumbar, so you have to be careful. And then come on down to your forearms. And then remember, we're shifting right to left just to see if there's a sweeter spot. I know that I tend to lean more to the left, but when I move to the right, I get a whole different sensation in my left inner thigh. So I've learned that over time, if I kind of move out of that place that I've gotten really cozy in pigeon, I can get some new opening. So you find your sweet spot and then you relax either head on a block, or I like making double fists. So go back to the mantra. So it's a breath in, sat, a breath out, nam. Remember, this mantra is, my essence is truth. I am truth. So just kind of reminding ourselves of our truth, of our true essence. And if you are comfortable chanting, it's so great to have that vibration of that mantra actually spoken. So you breathe in, sat, and then nam. So you can chant it to yourself. Doesn't matter what you think of your voice. Let's try 3 more rounds of breath with the mantra if you're doing it. So go ahead and slide your right forearm towards the front of your mat so that your right palm grabs your left knee. And then your either left hand on the left thigh to turn, or you'll take a half bind, reaching for your right or your left foot. Maybe you don't get there, it's okay. And you can look down and protect your neck if you tend to overwork the neck sometimes. And then the left arm comes up, and then press it down. Come into downward facing dog, and then lift your left leg. Bend the knee, rotate your hip, or do hip circles, whatever would feel nice. Then either go through one final time of that vignette, plank to cobra to locust to upward dog, or stay in your down dog. Five rounds of breath to recenter ourselves. And then when you're ready, place your knees down and come to a seat of any choice. So it can be on your heels. And just take a moment to check in with yourself. So kind of just feeling out your body, your mind, your spirit. Yeah, you can roll your neck or your shoulders. Grab a drink of water if you need it. So I want you to kind of feel again the energy. Do I have more energy on the right side? Am I feeling more of that yang energy? Am I feeling more of that receptive, calming energy? Do I need to balance any of that? So if you're feeling like you want to honor the yang or cultivate more of that, I want your final inversion to be maybe dolphin. So that's on your forearms. You could do headstand. You could do handstand. So it's going to be a more active inversion, right? So dolphin, just to show you, this is where I grab my armpits with my thumbs, just to make sure that's the distance, shoulders, elbows. I like prayer hands. I cap my upper back, pull in through my belly, lift the hips. So you'll stay here. I could do handstand by walking up or kicking up, headstand if you want to do it, right? All of those being a little bit more active way of inversion. So you'll do that. Those of you that are feeling like I want to honor more of the lunar energy, so just a little bit more of that restorative. You can do legs on the wall. So lay with your back on the floor, legs on the wall at an angle or straight up. You could do supported bridge with the block, or supported shoulder stand with the block. Or you could do seated breath work. Go back to that alternate nostril breathing or sat nam breathing. And we're going to do this for a minute and a half. So those of you that chose like something more active, you can come up and down. Okay, so choose whatever feeds you or the energy that you need to balance or cultivate. Yeah, let me know if you've got questions. I'm just gonna watch all your cool choices. And most of you need to relax your neck a little bit. Those of you in dolphin, yeah, relax your neck. There you go. That was nice, you guys. Let all four sides of your neck relax. Yeah, good. Strengthen more of your core, weaken more of your feet. Remember, you can come up and come down. You don't have to stay up the whole time. Deepen your breath. Maybe we'll have 5 or 6 more rounds of breath. So maybe you're sat-naming. I find that such a calming, like drop-in centering mantra to use. I use it when I start to get frustrated at something or start to notice myself. I just come back in with a little sat-nam. And then when you take your last breath in this shape, come out, and then if you want to sit up or child's pose, just kind of whatever would feel good. If you're already on your back, you might just let your feet come down, or just take a moment to take that in. And then I'll let you move on to your back when you're ready. We're gonna get those toes, so let your feet come up and wiggle your toes. So funny thing about toes, since that was a request, wiggling your toes is a really great way to ground yourself, especially like if you're in an uncomfortable situation or you're feeling your emotions get escalated, or you feel yourself rushing. Just to wiggle your toes instantly kind of pulls your energy down, grounds you, and also kind of switches gears, right, from that overly mental, sometimes conditioned responses that we'll notice ourselves. So keep wiggling your toes. I learned that from one of my mentors. I would be all flustered and I'd call and she'd go, well, are you wiggling your toes? And I'd be like, no, but I want to talk about this. She'd go, wiggle your toes. And then I would, and then I'd be like, okay, now we can talk. Okay, and then let your feet be still and just notice the energy in your feet. And then go ahead and bend your knees, place your feet down. Take a moment to touch your heart, touch your belly. Rub your hands together. Lay your palms on your eyes. May we know the power of our intention, power of our thoughts, the power of what we say, our speech, even the power of our perception, right? It's like the half empty glass or the half full, right? It's all a matter of perception. And this is a really potent time to be mindful of how we're perceiving, how we speak, how we think about ourselves, our situations. So Sat Nam, everybody. We are truth. And then open up your arms and your legs and Shavasana. Let go. Rest in that truth that you are. Your wise essence. That calm, grounded wisdom that knows. Maybe sigh. So bring that gentle smile on your face. Feel that smile extend all the way down to your abdomen and hips and all the way up to your cheekbones. Maybe you'll wiggle your toes again and your fingers. And slowly, if you feel like coming up to a seat, come up to a seat. Gather your hands at your heart, bow towards your intention for your practice today. And our maybe greater collective intention to continue to find ourselves amidst busy lives at times, or just a lot going on in the world. We can even be lost in our mind and be not very busy in the world, right? And we can still lose ourselves. So cheers to a practice that calls us back, right? Home to our breath, our bodies, our truth, our wisdom, our connection. And best of all, to each other. Namaste, friends. The light in me honors the light in you. Thanks so much for your practice today. Love feeling your energy.